What gets you up in the morning?
Oh, I've got a puppy right now. So this is a very as a matter of fact, answer. I have a puppy that gets me up at like 5 a.m. every morning, and I'm thankful that she does because it's for a bathroom break. So, but I think the real answer of like what gets you up in the morning, a deeper answer would be, I enjoy entertaining. Like there's something inside of me that feels natural. So I will get up in the morning to sing and dance. I guess entertainment gets me up in the morning. So I'll get up knowing that I'm going to tell jokes to people.
Jokes? You're more after like a laugh, a smile?
I think so, yeah. Okay. I'm pretty disgusting. I'll do anything for attention.
Okay, very good. I'm halfway there. Maybe all the way there, and I'm just not being honest.
Yeah.
What makes you angry?
Oh, man. So many things. Flip-flops is something that sort of makes me angry, like I can think of right off the bat. It's just, and I've tried to like look inward on this. It's more, maybe it's a jealousy thing, because if a car breaks down, for instance, I'm going to be pushing the car because I don't have flip-flops on. If somebody steals something and runs out of the store, I'm going to have to chase that person because flip-flops isn't going to win. I also think about like on the other side of the coin, if, shit goes down, if I grab your wallet and run off and you're in flip-flops, I win. Like if hot coffee spills on the ground, like you're just so vulnerable as as a man in flip-flops.
Yeah, I wear slides.
Yeah.
And my plan, I know I've accepted this, is I have to kick them off and run in bare feet.
You got to, yeah.
Yeah, but flip-flops are actually really hard to get off in a pinch.
Yeah, right.
So I like your thinking. So final question in the trilogy that we ask all our guests. What's the most fun you've had in post-COVID Santa Fe?
Oh, man. I've had a lot of fun with just like normal stuff.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun just it was a little shaky, but like taking my mask off. But just like social gatherings, like I had 2 friends over and it was an amazing, wonderful night. We did nothing. Like there was there wasn't a water slide. There wasn't like, there wasn't a bartender we hired to do like flair bartending as we got here. There was nothing like that. We just like got together, talked, and it was amazing how much fun I had after not having that for like a year.
Just being able to see their faces.
Yeah. Just being in the same room with them. No Zoom call, no anything. Yeah. This interview is great, man. This is
it's nice to see people.
To be able to, I've been doing a lot of podcast interviews via Zoom. So this is nice to be in studio.
And we will talk more about that.
Okay.
You're listening to Artist with Brian. I'm Brian, here with
Adam Copeland from My Shitty Podcast.
Adam is a podcaster, the host of My Shitty Podcast, spelled S-H-I-T-Y.
That's right.
So shitey, if you're going to go phonetically.
Yeah.
It's based here in Santa Fe, and he interviews service workers about their job, their lifestyle, and their creative endeavors.
Yeah. Funny story because it's misspelled. I thought it would sort of be funny to go with 1 T. Like it's so shitty that I don't like, there's hardly any editing. I don't spell check anything. But really, the true story behind that is the person with the 2 T's wanted $300 for that domain.
Oh.
I was like,
$300. That's not so much.
It's not terrible, but the 1 T was like $7 for the whole year. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. I'll just lean into it and make it my slogan. So shitty, it only has 1 T.
Very good.
Yeah.
Season 3 of Artist with Brian has a brand new sponsor. Underwritten, sponsored by howtoplaypoker.video. Yeah. Do you play poker?
Man, I do play a little poker. I had a little bit of a gambling problem at a certain point. I worked at a sports bar and it got so mundane that I had to like sprinkle in some entertainment. Like I had to get in. I was not involved with the I had no pony in the race. And when you're watching sports all day long, just to make it interesting, I started gambling. So it
like on your phone or on like a kiosk they had?
I don't want to. It was an actual bookie that like would come to the bar, but you could go online and place bets. It was like his encrypted site, and you went on. But he would come and like pick up an envelope every week. And
Wow. Wow.
But going back to poker, I like playing cards. It's great, man. Back in the day, I used to do video poker at Buffalo Wild Wings. I could pull up a seat.
Okay.
Video poker it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sorry.
When's the last time you played Texas Hold'em?
It's certainly been a year for sure. Maybe 2 years.
Okay, pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people are coming out of the woodwork. Maybe they're scheduling game nights with their friends. So Adam, or anybody listening, if you want to impress your family or your loved ones with your poker skill, go visit howtoplaypoker.video. It's over 10 hours of instruction. It's got 1.2 million views on YouTube, a 95+% satisfaction rate. Takes you from like a high school level math introduction to poker all the way through what I would say is like a bachelor's of science in advanced poker concepts.
Ooh, I need that.
Yeah, and for Artist with Brian listeners right now, it's completely free.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, right.
Maybe I'll jump right back on the wagon.
Visit howtoplaypoker.video right now. So I've been listening to your podcast, Adam.
Yeah.
And I've got a couple favorite episodes.
Okay, man.
I like the Trader Joe's one. Someone worked at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
And then this Instacart one.
Yeah.
Someone worked for Instacart. And I think for me, I listened to those all the way through. They just sunk their teeth into me because those are two jobs that I've considered doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you have a favorite episode where you'd send a new listener to right now to go check it out?
Man, episode. Okay, so in tradition of the podcast, I will usually end every show with a poop story, and the reason episode number 9, I think bar owner Max Moreland has the absolute best poop story where he's shit his pants, and I'll just leave it at that. I'll tease it, but that's my favorite poop story. If you want to like encapsulate, people ask me all the time, you know, I'm several episodes deep at this point. What my favorite or like with the worst poop story? It's episode 9.
Episode 9.
Yeah, with Max Moreland, bar owner.
Gotcha. Now, what's your poop story?
Man, I've got lots.
Okay.
But the best one the most alarming one that I've got is I was dating this girl. I'll give you the cliff notes so I don't take up the whole episode. But I was dating this girl. It was a brand new relationship. And my friends were like, she'll break your heart. You know, she's maybe don't get too attached. So I took that as, like, that's good foreshadowing. Thank you. So I took it serious. And she asked me that same night that I made the decision. I'm like, okay, we'll just it's casual right now. We'll just keep it that way. I'll stop spending the night and hanging out with her. That same night that I made the decision, she was like, I got some after work beers for you. I got stuff for pancakes in the morning, and I have coffee. Like, please tell me that you're coming over. So we worked on the same block, a service industry job where I was a bartender and she was a server. So I stayed the night against my better judgment and woke up in the morning and paid for it dearly. Now, this was a little like studio apartment. So the bedroom was right next to the bathroom. The kitchen was open. You could see everything. And to save face, I woke up and I had like a rumble in my stomach, and one of those like where they were audible. So like you could hear that I had to go to the bathroom. Hit it with a coffee, hit it with the pancakes, rewind to the 6-pack that I had the night before on top of like a shift drink or something like that, or several shift drinks at that point in my life. And I couldn't make it out the door. Like I left her apartment because I refused to go to the bathroom there. It was too new and I didn't want to like poop at her house and then like, see you later. I'll never talk to you again. So I as soon as the door hit, and I'm sure you've heard stories before of like your beehole knows like, oh, it's time to go. There was a gas station that wasn't too far, and I'm like doing math in my head. Like all I got to do is go down the stairs, hook a left in my car, and then boom, boom, boom. It's 3, like a right, and then I'm in the parking space. In my head, I'm going down the stairs, going through these steps. And as I'm mentally in the bathroom, my butthole's like, we're there. So I have to pull my pants down, and I pooped right, like on this little like grassy knoll, open apartment complex in front of everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to go. Oh, I say in front of everybody. Luckily, no one that I'm aware of saw this.
Yeah.
But anybody could have looked out their window and been like, call the cops? I don't know. Some guy's just like...
So did you just pull your pants up, head toward the bathroom anyways, and act like that's not yours anymore?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was potentially mortified, so I just pulled my pants up, and I'm sure, hopefully, it was pretty liquidous, so hopefully there wasn't too much of a mess.
Yeah.
But there was definitely, I felt bad for like maybe the maintenance guy that comes around, or somebody that was taking their dog out. It was close to the dog like poop station, you know?
Yeah.
So if it was a little more solid, maybe I would have turned around and picked up my excrement. But at this point, I was just like, I got to get out of there. If this girl would have opened the door and said, hey, you forgot your hat or something, it would have been curtains for me. But anyways, that's
your poop story. And I'm going to be coming on your show.
Yeah.
We're swapping appearances. So
that's right.
If you guys want to hear my poop story, go subscribe to My Shitey Podcast in iTunes. Where else?
Anywhere you get your podcasts.
Anywhere.
Yeah. Spotify.
Yeah.
iHeartRadio. All the favorites.
Yeah. And my poop story will come out in the near future. Yeah.
That's almost punny. My poop story will come out.
Yes.
Just like...
Carefully.
Yeah.
So we're both podcasters. I kind of want to talk shop with you about podcasting. You're much further down the road than me. I'm at 17 episodes. This will be number 18.
Mm-hmm.
You have 122.
Yeah.
I started in 2019. You started in January 2017.
Yeah.
I took a hiatus during COVID, but you continued with remote interviews.
Yeah.
So you're kind of a pro at this. Tell me, let's map it out. So 3 questions. Where did it start from? Where are you now? And where are you going with it?
This is great.
So the origins.
Yeah. So it started from, I managed a bar in Austin, and there were 3 managers that sort of made this happen. And the way that we would communicate, you would have a manager that would close at night, and a manager that would open in the morning, and someone in between, like a midday shift. So if somebody broke a TV in the bar, I would have to get on the computer and type, there was a fight, somebody threw a shoe, it hit the TV, I ordered a new one, I told the owner, everything's good, just don't turn that TV on in the corner. And there would be a story, like this is what went down, that would get typed out. And the reason for this is so I don't call my coworker who is coming in at like... who worked until like midnight last night, got a couple hours of sleep, and is coming in first thing in the morning to work brunch. But there were funny stories that would come up, like, oh, that's the shittiest. It became like the shittiest part of the night. What's the shittiest part of your job? Became the theme of the story, or the theme of the podcast, rather. So that's how it started. And then it sort of evolved into me just kind of like squeezing stories out of the average Joe, service industry workers mainly, because you're exposed to more people. I don't know. I feel like when you're exposed to the masses, you have more interactions that become interesting. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of why I leaned into that. So that's how it started. And then the second question, I'm sorry, I go on these rants.
Oh yeah. Where is it now?
Where is it now?
Like looking back, like what's the accomplishments that surprise you?
Yeah.
How has it changed?
I got you, man.
Yeah.
So it's changed. I've learned to write questions that, and this will be a callback to your show, as opposed to saying like, what's your religious background? Like how did you grow up? What's your stance on religion? And instead of saying that, I will say, what's your relationship with God? And I'm taking a cue from your show now, as an example, but something like that will give you more of an interesting result as opposed to like, what are you? Like, I'm an atheist. Like, okay, well, goodbye. that's the end of that question.
Right.
Moving on, as opposed to what's your relationship with God? An atheist may tell you, well, I don't think that we should have them. And I think that you shouldn't worship anything. I've learned to sort of tweak questions to squeeze out a better story. And I'm also experimenting with new segments, like having 10 to 20 minute check-in with some friends, just as like a free-for-all for the most part. And then going into the interview to sort of break it up. Because I noticed that people's attention span sometimes isn't always there. So it's good to give, some variety. That's sort of what I've learned in doing podcasts. And where it's going now, I like that I've got a body of work that I can turn around and go, look over there. There's, 100 and however many episodes at this point. Hopefully hundreds of episodes at some point. I'm just now getting into the world of voiceover. And that's kind of a nice thing to have, to be like a casting director if you want to get casted as like a game show host. Like, oh, okay, Adam can hold court. Here's proof. He's had a podcast since 2017. So that's sort of where it's going. I hope I didn't give too dry of an answer.
But the format of the show, the type of people you bring on, you're going to keep that steady.
I think I'm going to keep it steady. I do have aspirations of maybe I should do a different format, or like maybe I should do a second podcast. But it swallows up so much of your time. It's like a second job,
Yeah, it is. How often do you release? Because it's not weekly.
I try my very best to do it weekly.
Okay.
But, life gets in the way. The best way to do it, I can say to anybody that wants to start a podcast, is to bank a few. Like, get 5 in the can.
Yeah.
Like, just get 5 in the can. Also, if you're going to start a podcast from scratch, something I learned afterwards, if you release 5 to 6 episodes, you're likely to get featured on new and noteworthy podcasts.
Absolutely.
On like iTunes and stuff like that. And you'll get a big spike and it'll drop, but you may have a few listeners that stick from that. So if you're going to start a podcast.
Yeah, you're crushing one of my questions.
Yeah,
so you're 2 parts through. No, crushing in a good way. So the third
I do. That happens to me sometimes where I'm like, I'm scribbling out things on the paper that I've written down because my guest is just answering it on their own.
Yeah. So we're talking now to the young artists in Santa Fe who may want to start their own local podcast.
Right.
You gave them 2 tips. What's the third tip or step in launching their very own podcast?
I think it's important, and this is just a personal thing for me. I think it's important to have intro, outro music, or like some sort of announcement that, and the show is starting. Much like your show where you like, here we go, here's 3 questions, boom, boom, boom. And you get to like have that. It's sort of like an introduction. It is an introduction. This is the guest. This is the host. I'm asking you questions. For me, it's a shitty ukulele that I start with. I'll maybe give like this is what we get into in the show. That we've got a segment that's 10 minutes long, and then I get into the interview with blah, blah, blah. I hope you enjoy the show. See you later. And then it starts that way. So I guess my advice is to have some sort of format. I think that's really helpful. And I think it's helpful for the listener too. Like I think we sort of crave structure as humans.
Comfort, familiarity.
Yeah. So if there's some sort of structure there needs to be some sort of structure in your show, whether that's intro, outro music, beginning segment, ending segment, poop story, whatever it might be.
Yeah. Or like a game halfway through an open-ended conversation.
That's it. Bada bing, bada boom.
I want to play some trivia with you, Adam.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
It's podcasting trivia since you are a podcaster.
Okay.
If you get all 3 questions right, you will win this very good condition copy on VHS of E.T.
Classic.
I mean, the box, the box is like good condition, but the tape itself is very good. Do you have a VCR?
I don't, but I've got aspirations of getting a VCR,
Okay.
This is such a noteworthy movie, such a noteworthy VHS, I would put it in my bookshelf.
That's where I've had
Right?
it. Yeah. So I think five guests now have failed to win this.
Oh, shit.
So best of luck here. First question. How many podcasts are active on Apple Podcasts? Now this is globally in all languages, and I give you A, B, or C. Is it 100,000, 500,000, a million?
I'm going to go with 500,000.
You got it right.
All
Good
right.
job. Okay, now question 2. In 2019, a gentleman named Dan Meisner analyzed 10 million podcast episodes, just audio podcast episodes. And he found the median length of those 10 million podcasts was 38 minutes, 48 minutes, or 58 minutes.
Oh, this is hard for me. And the reason why is because I have a 50-50 split. Some people are like, it's a long podcast. And other people are like, I devour them all day long. You should do a 3-hour one like Rogan or something.
I'll anchor this a little bit for you.
Okay.
Highlight the key points is that it's audio only that he analyzed, no video pods. And what else? I was going to give you another hint. Oh, it's median. It's not average.
Uh-huh.
It's median length.
I'm going to go with the short one. I'm going to go 30. What was it? 32? What was the
38.
38.
Wait, yeah, you got it right. 38
All
minutes
right.
and 42 seconds.
Yeah, man. People's attention span.
Yeah,
That's
what Artist with Brian tries to land right in there.
I noticed. Yeah, you're in a sweet spot.
I didn't even realize it was the 50th percentile.
You're just a natural, man.
Natural at being average. Okay, so you're 2 for 2. This is exciting. You might win the VHS copy of ET. Third question's the hardest. Name a local podcast other than Artist with Brian and my Shady podcast.
Man, this is where I just it slips through my fingertips. I had ET. I was holding it. I was putting it in my bookcase. I was surprised that there were. I'm surprised that there's more than 2 in Santa Fe.
Right? I was really delighted when I found yours when I was starting this one. So
Yeah.
I've been a fan for quite a bit now, 2 years.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much. That's
Okay,
great.
so I'll give one I know about
Yes, please.
that just came into mind. I don't know if it's defunct, but Santa Fe Reported. The Reporter has highly produced, very well produced journalistic podcast.
Man, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I work at a place that has a podcast. I should have totally.
Well, tell us, what's that?
So Santa Fe Institute is how that's how I pay my bills. That's where I work, which is a think tank here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And the Complexity podcast is I suppose a local one. No, it is. It's recorded here, and that's it. So that's my answer.
Yeah, I say if you want
it's not
ET,
too
it's
late.
yours.
All
Yeah.
right.
Okay, so
Let's
Adam's
do it,
going home
man.
with ET.
Hell yeah.
All right, so back to you. You're not just a podcaster. You're an artist yourself. Podcasting is definitely an art, but what other types of art have you been busy with in your life, and how are they interfacing right now?
Yeah, right
with
on,
the rest
man.
of your lifestyle.
My father was a carpenter, so by default I've always been a carpenter's helper. I've done woodwork at 10,000 Waves, which is a Japanese spa here in Santa Fe. For those that may not be familiar with it. So I did woodwork there for about 3 years, and then Santa Fe Institute sort of recruited me. I wasn't looking for another job, but an opportunity came up, and they were like, "Hey, we sort of need like an all-around maintenance guy." So that's sort of a long-winded answer that went a little too far. So I'm going to rewind and say woodworking is going to be probably the most prominent art form that I've expressed the most lately. I am now getting into voiceover acting as well. So I think you can quantify that as art, as because it's you're acting, like you are acting out emotions on paper. So that is another art form that I'm sort of dabbling with.
You're separating voice acting and voice over.
Right. Yeah. So
But boy, are they similar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's funny because if you're acting on camera, you can raise an eyebrow and sort of lean in, and you can evoke like an emotion that way. But on behind the microphone, you have to smile and hope that comes through. If it's a happy ad, oh, this is it. If you do it right now, then you can subscribe for X amount of dollars. It'll be great. And then there's script that you get that people, they don't want you to do anything. Just read it. Like right now, $4.99 tote gallon so-and-sos at Lowe's are going for 50% off. Get them now for blah, blah, blah. They don't want you to act too much. So it's funny. There is a fine line there.
What type of woodworking projects do you have going on right now?
I'm building a closet in my house.
Okay.
Per Santa Fe, closets are not a thing. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But if you have any like existing house in Santa Fe, there's probably not a closet in it. So I started building a closet in my room. It's in disarray now. Like all my clothes are falling all over the place, and it's just the bones, this has now become the project. I put the bones up so I can put all of my shit in my existing open closet right now. And now I have to design a shell around it. So,
oh yeah, the hard part.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sit down with like a pencil and sketch out a few designs now that I got the bones up. So.
Do you enjoy woodworking at this level?
I do. I really enjoy it more so leisurely, as opposed to when I was making a living for it, because you can sort of look at your kitchen sink, kitchen counter, and say, I could use a paper towel holder here. Oh, I'm going to make a really dope paper towel. I'm going to use this wood. I'm going to use this kind of finish. I'm going to stick a bamboo stick through there so it looks kind of natural when I'm out of paper towels. And the bamboo stick standing right there. So I think I enjoy that because it's more custom. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like this table's too long. I'm going to make a shorter one for myself.
Fit for purpose.
Yeah.
And aesthetic.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Like when I move into a new apartment, I know it's going to take me about a year to figure out how to arrange my furniture.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll rotate it every few months. Sometimes I get lucky and figure it out early. And then in this particular place, like I knew I needed a bookshelf. I needed this table.
Right.
But it came in staggered.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know exactly where I would put it and how I wanted to use it. But
that's it, man.
It accretes. It doesn't pop up.
Yeah. You got to live in it to know, like, okay, well, I need a clear walkway here. This bookshelf is getting in the way or whatever.
Exactly. So are you posting any pictures of this closet to your Instagram?
I have not. Just because the podcast takes a pretty surprising amount of time. If you're not dedicated to, I have a lot of friends that are like, I want to start a podcast. And I said, great, I'll help you. But very few are serious about it because it takes it'll take my whole Saturday, honestly.
Yeah.
Saturdays are dedicated to podcasting for me. So I'll record intros, I'll record outros. So I guess this is a long-winded answer for podcasting consumes a lot of my time. So the only Instagram I have is for the podcast. So as much as I would like to like take a picture of the closet that I'm doing, it's not podcast related.
Yeah.
So my leisure Instagram is neglected due to the podcast has taken paramount. It's just the podcast Instagram. It's the only thing I have time to keep up with now.
Yeah. I've noticed even once you get really good at producing your own podcast, an hour-long episode takes about 5 or 6 hours of your time.
Yeah.
Even doing live to tape with no edits.
Do you have a problem? I've got a problem with this. And I'm curious if you do. I will tell people I edited it. I took the podcast and I edited it. It sounds like I say it. My brain is like, you said that incorrectly.
Yeah.
So I don't know why, but I have an issue with it, and I can even feel it coming up. I took that episode and I edited it for 4 hours. I took that episode and I edited it. It feels like I'm stuttering or something.
Yeah, maybe we could say produced, because edit does also make one think there's going to be a lot of jump cuts, and you could misrepresent the narrative or the person.
That's true.
So
yeah,
produced.
I produced it. That's going to be my new vernacular for that.
And then there's a word particularly for audio. It's not massaged, but it's something like that.
Yeah. I squeezed it.
Yeah, I can't think of what it is. What is the main time sink? So in your whole Saturday, what portion of the process is the bottleneck for you?
Oh, man. I'll get up and I'll have coffee. The hardest part, honestly, is if you can do a podcast solo, this is some really good advice. If you've got an idea for a solo podcast where you maybe read script or have a backstory or go into the fine details of the thing that you researched for blah, 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 that is going to hook you up. If you are like yourself or me and make the mistake of booking guests, the majority of the time you're just like wrangling your guests. Like, oh my God, it's supposed to start. There's a thing. I'm doing this for free. I'm not paying this person. So I have to say, okay, you're coming back from the grocery store, but we did talk about this specific time. I'll just be patient and twiddle my thumbs. And sometimes that will bottleneck the process because you could be, I can't record an intro because I don't know how the interview is going to go. I can't say like, hey, this is my guest Ted. We're going to go into, well, I don't know what we're going to go into. So just stay tuned. I mean, I guess I could, but that for me seems to be the biggest like bottleneck is scheduling a guest, getting them to commit. And that's also the reason why I don't put out a weekly podcast because it's tough, man. It's tough to book guests. Kudos, by the way.
Well, thank you. It is ambitious to do 16, but I'm so excited. I'm going to get to meet 16 local artists, and the viewers will too. The trick I'm doing is, so I'm going to do that's a 4-month run with weekly releases, but I'm going to record them all in the first 8 weeks, in the first 2 months. And then the later 2 months, I'll still be working, 20 hours a week on the podcast, but it'll be all promoting, marketing, and setting up season 4.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That also is another like time suck. I release on Tuesdays. I'll release my episode on Tuesday. So I'm doing all the fine tuning on Monday night. And then on Tuesday, I'm doing all the social media stuff, promoting whatever picture I took or forgot to take. And now I have to comb through the internet and find a picture of my guest. Hopefully it's there. Maybe even reach out to them. Hey, will you send me a picture that I can post to promote the blah, blah, blah. So I get it, man.
I'm going to try to pay my guests on season 4.
You are?
Yeah. All the business plans, the commerce side of this art project. It's a step-by-step approach, but yeah, I think I'll be able to pay 8 people modestly with a sponsor next season.
You should have me on next season.
Yeah, that sounds good. Actually, the pitch to the advertiser will be 100% of the money they give me will go directly to the guests.
That's amazing.
So I'll still pay for production and advertising out of my pocket.
Yeah, the podcast only costs me money. I've been dabbling with sponsorship, and I'm just now like getting my toes wet. And it's at this point for me, it would be me breaking even on like editing software and blog hosting sites and so on and so forth. So it's you got to be dedicated, man. If you want to do you really ask yourself if you want to do a podcast and why, if you're thinking about starting one up.
Yeah, I think when I started, like the average podcast would only ever release like the 7th episode. That's when the average person gave up.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'm getting to 11. But then I kind of gave up at 11.
Did you?
Then got this little spurt out to get to 17.
Yeah, it'll come in waves, man. I took a month off one time and that lasted, this is like in the very beginning. I was like, I'm just going to sit this out for like, I'm going to get my ducks in a row. I'm going to better the podcast somehow. I don't even think I had a plan at that point. But I think 3 months passed before I recorded another episode. And it wore on me a little bit, kind of like bummed me out, which goes back to the beginning question where you were like, what gets you out of bed? And outside of the puppy, it was like, I need this for some reason. Like there's something deep down in me that needs to host. I need to
host and connect with like-minded individuals.
Right. Yeah. It feels good. I don't know. I get pumped up after I get an episode in the bag. You can't hold me down.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, man.
Maybe I'll feel like that in about 15 minutes.
Hopefully, man.
So we're going to go to the clay pot right now. It's a pot I made once upon a time at Santa Fe Clay.
Did you really?
Yeah. You can tell I made it, right? I'm not a potter.
There's a Japanese term for that, right? Are you familiar? The wabi-sabi or wabu-sabi?
Oh, really?
My Japanese is complete shit. But yeah, it's basically like it's naturally fucked up, kind of. You know,
good.
like...
Yeah, it works great for this.
I mean this, I'm trying to pay you a compliment, and it came out really.
The glaze is clever, though. I'll take a photo for Instagram at Artist with Brian.
Yeah,
the glaze is nice. So there's about 50 fan questions in here, and I pull them on at random. We'll ask you a few.
Okay.
First fan question: favorite president?
My favorite president is Obama, like hands down. I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, you wouldn't even go back in time. You wouldn't. Comb around,
and sure, I know that there were great leaders and great innovators, and there's some really interesting stories about presidents out there. I just feel like when Obama was elected, I sort of felt like I hit this finish line of like, that's it, we're unified. Like there's no more. We elected as a majority a black president. There's diversity now. This is the first ever black president. This is amazing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, that really stuck with me. Like I remember, and then the second term, I was like, we are definitely there for a second term black president. It's confirmed now that we're out of problems. We're unified as a nation. And then in 2016, that sort of that theory got shut down a little bit.
Yeah, things seem to like swing back and forth on a pendulum, huh? Right. There's a yin and a yang to life.
Totally, man. Yeah. I subscribe to the yin yang.
Yeah, but we got to find the narrow path.
Right. That's right, man. Yeah. That's exactly
well, that's
correct.
A great answer. A second fan question, Adam. Have you ever run away from home?
I ran away from home. Okay. So going back to yes, the answer is yes. Didn't give you a little backstory on that. My dad was a carpenter, and he would bring materials home. So he would make me these elaborate tree houses. And for whatever reason, I was upset with my parents. They probably made me clean my room or something. And I was like, fuck you, Dad. Can I curse on this?
Yeah. Okay. It's explicit in iTunes.
All right, good. So it was like, fuck you, Dad, or Mom, or whatever, or both of you. I'm moving. And I hate my sisters for making me share pizza with them or something arbitrary. I packed up like a bag, grabbed my dog, went to my tree house, and stayed there for about 4 or 5 hours until I realized like I'm so bored and went back.
So you stayed in the yard but out of the house.
I stayed. Oh, my dad would make these. Did I say my dad would make these like elaborate tree houses like these?
Yeah.
Okay. I started ranting and trying to think about like why I ran away from home. But yeah, so I basically disappeared, which was probably fantastic for my parents. They're like, thank God that kid's out of here. But I just got so bored doing nothing, like petting my dog for 6 hours or however long it was that nobody noticed me running away from home.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, if you ask my parents, they'd say, no, he's never run away from home. But if you ask me, I'm like, yeah, I did for 6 hours.
Oh,
totally.
I like that.
Totally went rogue.
That's a good wrinkle to the story.
Right, yeah.
It's your story. It's nobody else's.
That's right.
Yeah. So if you want to ask an upcoming artist guest a fan question, you can leave it as a comment on my Instagram at artistwithbrian, or if you want to be really cool, leave it as part of your iTunes review. I'm trying to get to 25 iTunes ratings right now. We're at 19 thanks to Adams from this morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, go leave a fan question. Really anywhere. You could DM me on Instagram too. Final fan question for Adam. Advice to your 15-year-old self.
Ooh, man, that's a great question. I would tell my 15-year-old self that you are an entertainer. Like I was really lost from, I would say, from birth to like my late 20s. I didn't really know myself. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what kind of like got me out of bed in the morning. I didn't really have a real purpose. And there was nothing that would sort of scratch that itch until I started doing theater, improv, stand-up, podcasting. I've got a little it's called My Shitty Comic. It's a comic strip that I do. But there's something in me, and it took me a long time to realize, like, oh, that's you. That's special to you. And so I would tell 14 or 15-year-old me.
15,
15.
Yeah.
I would tell 15-year-old me to go after some sort of form of entertainment.
Okay.
I think that would maybe save me a lot of fucking up.
Yeah.
I'd just party all the time because I would just get wasted. Maybe I would tell myself to stay away from the cocaine.
Oh, A or B, stay away from cocaine or become an entertainer right now.
I think if I told myself become an entertainer right now, I would probably have surpassed a lot of the partying that I did. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, better to be on stage than in the party.
Right, man.
Well, for
right.
some of us, it's also a burden.
Right.
It's a gift and a curse.
It's funny when I am performing, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a beer. I'm gonna get I'm so gonna relax after this. And also when I see a show of somebody in the same realm, it is nice. This podcast, for instance, I'm like, oh man, I can just relax and answer questions. I don't have to like go through my notes and do my homework this is nice. So I really appreciate whenever, like you were saying, it's better to be a part of the show as opposed to like the part of the party. It's also nice to be a part of the party.
Yeah, it really is. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah,
I love being amongst the crowd.
Both.
I bartended for like 4 years out here.
Did you?
And it's great at crisis management and also adapting really quickly to different personalities.
100%.
Yeah. So it got me out of my shell and made me think I can be a better businessman than I ever have.
Yeah.
So that's the plus side. But boy, just like going to restaurants now with friends or going out for a drink.
PTSD?
No, it's like 1,000% better.
Oh, yeah.
It's 1,000% better than being the center of attention. I mean, bartending's a performance for tips, but and that's fun. But it's such a relief just to be on the other side of it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. I'm going to walk out of here. I don't have to do dishes, sweep up. I'm just going to walk out with a buzz. No big deal.
Oh, yeah, right?
Gonna,
And I get to walk home, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, walking home buzzed is a good experience.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
It is.
It's the way to do it.
I, at a certain point, lived close to town and was able to take advantage of that.
Cool.
No longer the case.
So I got another interesting idea for my podcast I want to hash out with you since you're a fellow podcaster.
Let's do it, man.
I'm calling it Sticker Partners. Any idea what that is?
I have no clue.
So I'm going to print up 500 high-quality laminate stickers with my podcast logo on them.
Yeah.
I'm going to put one on the back of my car.
Okay.
I'm going to try to pay Santa Fe's $40 to put it on the back of their car and let me post it to my IG.
I like this, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the Sticker Partners is local organizations and local businesses. I want to keep a stack of 50 by their cash register and give them out to people who are curious, not push them, just have them sitting there available.
Uh-huh.
And in exchange for that, that's all they have to do. They'll get a permanent blog write-up on artistwithbrian.com. They'll get featured in my Instagram stories, Instagram posts. That'll go permanent on my Instagram as a highlight. They'll get mentioned with the other sticker partners at the end of every episode of this season. Let's see. Are there any other? I think that's it. But that's pretty good, right?
That's amazing.
Do you like it? Do you think?
Blowing me up, man. You're blowing my mind. I took a marketing class once, and a takeaway from that class was your car is like one of the best advertising tools outside of like word of mouth. So if you can put like a sticker, a bumper sticker, or they'll even pay like big trucks to like drive billboards around cities.
Oh yeah, right.
So I'm sure, yeah, you've seen that before. But yeah, I think put the sticker on your car, and I'll give you an incentive to do so.
Oh yeah, the first 10 people that do that, I'll give $40.
That's amazing.
So there's a $400 budget out of my pocket for that.
Yeah.
But to me, it's a worthy gamble.
Yeah.
Because other people might see it on Instagram and be like, I rep this pod real hard. The sticker's free.
Right.
Let me put it on my car. Yeah, DM me if you want a sticker.
That's great, man. That's awesome.
Do you like it? Do you want to hear who our first sticker partner is?
Yes, I do.
Santa Fe Human Rights Alliance.
Nice.
Yeah, so one of the leaders of that organization is a friend of mine from Film Club. So he agreed to do this. So he's going to get the blog write-up. He's going to get the Instagram shout-outs. And he's going to get a stack of 50 high-quality laminate stickers with the podcast logo to hand out to his organization members.
That's so great.
Yeah, so
man, that's genius.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. So anybody listening who owns a small business in town, ideally with a cash register that's either like the point of sale before the meal or at the end of the meal. I don't want to harass diners. I just want it there with the business cards and toothpicks. And you'll check out the Santa Fe Human Rights Alliance, like the kind of love that they're going to get from me.
Yeah.
So you'll get a good idea of what the deal is.
Cool, man.
So how about you? What's the number one call out for your fans or your future fans? Where do they need to go right now to find you, to connect with you?
All of the big ones, as far as like YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio. I apologize if I miss one or two. But you can pretty much find me anywhere, especially if you misspell it with shitty with one T. Right. My shitty podcast. You can pretty much find me anywhere. myshittypodcast.com. There's some helpful links that'll sort of direct you.
Good.
If you're looking for me, you can find me.
Rate them 5 stars. Write them a review. The reviews help the most.
Always.
Okay, and last thing before we go, a question for the next guest.
All right. Would it be terrible of me to say, to ask when was a time where they shit their pants, or give a poop story?
No, I think that's perfect.
Okay,
we'll end it on that.
Should I give you a clean take on that one?
A clean take, like no. It'll be the same answer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, when did you last shit your pants? Tell me the story of when you last shot your pants.
Yeah, tell me the story of when you last shit your pants.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks, Adam.
You got it, man.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
I went to school for a Bachelor of Fine Arts in theater. So that turned into being a professional Instacart shopper.
It's so sad. Like, I'm a thespian, which means I work for Instacart and bartend as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I used to make $200, $300 on like a really good bartending night, and I'm making that with Instacart, and it's like in the middle of the day, I'm getting to reverse my schedule. I'm no longer like sleeping all day and hungover, and then going to work, and then staying up all night and hanging with the wrong people. I'm like getting up early, like shopping for all these wonderful people in retirement, and meeting, other working professionals that kind of got thrown to the wayside during the pandemic scramble to find a job again. But today, hey, restaurants are open again. I can go back if I wanted to.
Is that right? Did they open up today?
I just saw like an Instagram post from the Compound and Restaurant Martine. All those like, little foodie hotspots are posting, we're reopening. And I'm like, yes, because no one wants to eat your amazing food out of styrofoam in their car.
I know, right? That's the new norm.